Alright, tout le monde, on se retrouve sur la suite de Tales of Arise. Donc là, man, là, ça commence à devenir fucking intéressant. On doit chercher l'ancien vaisseau de ENFIN qu'il a utilisé dans le fait quand il est revenu de LENEGIS. Quand il s'est fait faire des tests. Fait que là, on est à la recherche de ça, puis on va trouver un moyen d'aller à LENEGIS. Aller péter, man. Les big boss, mon chum, qui contrôlent tout. Tu sais, là, les gros gouvernements, là. Drette ça, man, quand ça va péter. Fait que, let's go, man. Les lieux. Il avait dit Ulzebeck. Drette là. C'est drette là que tout a commencé, man. On va avoir un petit nostalgie, là. Une petite nostalgie, là.
Ah, Calaglia. Feels like it's been ages.
Oui.
Wasn't Zephyr with us too?
Dad.
Hey, chin up. This is your hometown.
Let's see what's going on around here.
Yeah, there might be someone who could use our help.
Oh, just one thing after another, and it all falls on my head too.
Hey, Nath.
What? Can't you see I'm... Alphin?
Looks like you have your hands full.
As much as ever. As if I wasn't busy enough putting down the last remnants of Renan rule, I'm up to my ears in Danon disputes. And then, to top it all off, that thing had to come crashing down from out of the sky.
Pretty sure we've heard this somewhere before.
But enough about my problems. What can I help you with?
Yeah, we're looking for an old Renan starship. You wouldn't happen to know any around these parts, would you?
A starship? What do you need one of those for?
To get to LENEGIS.
LENEGIS? Are you out of your damn mind?
Believe it or not, it wouldn't be the craziest thing we've done recently.
Well, I believe it. Well, either way, I'm afraid I haven't heard anything about a starship.
Then do you have any historical records by chance?
Sure, we've got stacks of old records.
Mind if we take a look at them?
Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Nath.
I read through all of the records, but I only found a single line that might point to what we're looking for. It mentions a rock that shot across the sky and landed past the mountains.
Ooh.
The event was recorded just before the first Renan invasion.
And you think that might be the starship?
I don't know. There was nothing else in the records that came even close. It looked like it was someplace called Berg, but maybe I'm reading it wrong.
Berg?
That ring any bells for you?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest volcanoes in Calaglia. I was just there recently, investigating a report of a meteor someone saw.
Another meteor in the same area? Really?
I wonder if it could have been one of those lights that shot out of the wedge.
All the more reason to check it out. Can you tell us how to get there?
The old Zion mine is up that way. One of the veins we abandoned connects to the volcano. Go ahead and use that.
Alright.
But you should be careful.
Huh?
I don't know if it has anything to do with the meteor. There's a giant Zoogle running riot in there. Never seen anything like it.
Oh, un boss.
A Zoogle, huh?
Well, I turned back as soon as I caught sight of the thing, so I can't tell you much more. Just be real careful if you head out that way.
Alors, t'es prêt ou quoi? Ah, je t'avais pas vu l'épée ardente. Ne serait pas là, le fils de Zephyr? Ça alors, t'as sacrément poussé. J'arrive pas à croire qu'un petit avorton comme toi soit l'un des compagnons de l'épée ardente. Ton père serait fier de toi.
All right.
Pars devant, je te rejoins plus tard. Comme tu veux, chef. À la prochaine, là. Et ne te foule pas trop. Connais-tu ce type?
I guess...
Oh, vraiment, non. Je l'ai certainement déjà vu, mais je devais être tout petit. Tu aurais quand même pu lui dire bonjour, tu ne crois pas? C'est à cause de moi si mon père n'est plus là. Tu te souviens? Et tu sais combien tout le monde l'admirait ici? Ah. Ah ouais. Qu'est-ce qu'il a? Ça ne va pas fort et il se sent très coupable pour la mort de Zephyr. C'est pas moi qui lui jetterai la pierre, mais même si ce n'est pas de sa faute, c'est un lourd fardeau à porter à son âge.
Right.
Il fait de son mieux pour, pour arriver à l'accepter. Je suis sûr qu'il va s'en sortir. Ouais.
I didn't like the sound of that monster Nate was talking about one bit.
Well, we have to press on.
Ah, c'est ici.
Going through Zion Mine to Berg Volcano. Let's move.
Ok. Tunnel des mines de Zion, ouais, c'est ça. C'est là qu'on doit aller.
Pluto senses an owl around here.
Ça fait longtemps qu'on n'a pas passé ici. Ah shit, trompé de chemin, man. Il a fallu que je tourne ici.
We should be able to cook here.
It's quite hot here. The climate feels different from Menencias.
It's gotten much cooler since leaving town, though.
Does that mean eyes were burning holes in us?
Ah, c'est bien vite, man, c'est long. Je pense que je vais faire des déplacements rapides, mais je suis pas sûr.
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
So we're back in the Zion Mine tunnels. Who would have thought we'd be going through this place again? This is where you and I first fought together.
And also the first time we touched, as I recall.
Wait, really?
Yes,
Oh.
really.
T'en souviens? On avait un tutoriel ici, puis elle était emprisonnée ici, je crois. De sa prison.
So this path is supposed to take us out to Berg Volcano?
We're not gonna see any lava burst out in front of us or anything, are we?
Don't get so paranoid you let a rock fall on your head, Law.
Là, on a un petit donjon. Volcan de Berg. De Berg, whatever.
So hot.
Well, yeah. We've reached the inner...
Ok, ça, c'est un... Faut passer par là.
portion of Berg Volcano.
We need to find that starship. And fast.
Huh.
Oh. Je peux pas escalader. Ah, lui il peut. Ah ah.
You can make plants grow instantly? What if we use this for fruits and vegetables?
I'd rather not be our party's fertilizer. Thank you very much.
My face is starting to sting. And my throat feels super parched.
Here, have some water. Just make sure you don't drink too much.
Thanks.
Ok, fait que là je peux continuer par là en ligne droite. Après ça, tourner à droite.
You want some too, Shion? Oh, wait. I bet you're hungry more than anything, aren't you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
It's crazy to see rocks melt before our eyes.
Watch where you're going, everyone. If you fall, there will be nothing left of you.
Exactly. So don't try anything funny. Especially you, Law. No pushing anyone, not even as a joke.
I'm not a little kid!
Ah, shit.
Don't get careless.
Don't kill me! Negative gate! Resonate with the earth! Take it! Dodge my come and face me! It's over! You can't get out of this!
Here's a healing arc.
Save you!
We've got fires.
I've got this. That's part of the battle. Just glad you have your
All yours.
Là, il y a déjà même plus de vie, man. Tu fais quoi?
Now I'm real mad!
That's my cue.
Shut him down.
Picture it coming!
You're finished.
That's enough! Try this!
Infernal turret.
I'll crush you!
Let's go.
Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Here I come. It's on. You picked the wrong fight.
I never miss.
Infernal turret. Rising Wyvern. Mirage.
Far enough. Healing circle.
Elusive deity!
Take this.
I can carve through armor!
Rising
Glacial
Wyvern.
spear.
Mirage.
Freeze Lancer.
Take this.
Oh, il en manquait tellement pas gros, sacrément.
No more playing nice. Here goes. I'm only getting back into the fight.
Take this.
Eat this.
It's over. Flame inside me yearns to be let free.
Big blast. Healing circle.
Burn. Look sharp.
Lightning Tiger Blade! See that?
That training's paying off.
On a déjà plus de PS. C'est que c'est cave.
Here's the evil.
I'm ready!
Ah ouais!
Commander of Heavens.
Phoenix Cyclone.
These bad guys really don't mess around.
C'était les seuls qui manquaient à juste esquiver. Il fallait que ça aille direct dans le milieu du chemin, cette bande de salles. Alright, on est arrivé. Au moins on récupère toutes nos affaires. Et voilà, hop, on s'en va battre le boss. Let's go. Tabarnak qui est grand, ouais.
What the hell is that thing?
Probably that monster Nath warned us about.
Ah, je savais pas qu'il était gros de même.
Do you think this might have been where one of those lights that shot out of the wedge landed?
But why this location? If the purpose of the wedge is to harvest Dana's astral energy.
We can figure that out later. If that thing gets into town, it's going to cause chaos. We need to take it down and move on. Let's go! This one's tough, but we have no choice.
Let me know if you need healing.
Il fait quoi là?
Here it comes. Focus.
On your toes, everyone.
Primed and ready.
Suddenly turning tail doesn't seem so ridiculous.
Why? Are you scared?
On attaque quoi là?
Are you?
Do you even have to ask? Of course I'm scared.
Focus up before we become that thing's lunch.
It's summoning Zoogles?
Take care of them while keeping an eye on it. I'll stop its charge.
Thanks, Kisara.
Glacial spear. Pierce evil.
Dance!
Begin.
I'm on it!
Here I come! It's over!
Annihilation. Mega
You're mine!
Super swallow
You're
dance.
finished!
I'll finish you here and now!
This one's all mine!
Another incantation ruined.
Can you take it? You're mine!
Here I come!
Healing circle.
Hurricane! That's
Mirage! Burn! I owe you one.
I never miss.
Now you see what I can do!
You're mine!
Oh, now you're talking!
Mirage!
Hitting pile driver!
Try this!
Storm!
Infernal turret!
Talon hurricane.
I'll grind you into dust!
Into the shadows. I'm ready.
Hitting pile driver! Take this!
Dragon down.
Don't mind if I do. I'm out of ammo.
Take this!
Annihilation. Magna ray.
Come one, come all! The flame inside me yearns to be ready.
On peut même pas aller le tuer. On peut même pas aller le frapper.
Healing circle.
Oh oh.
You picked the wrong fight.
I'm sorry to be a bother.
We've all got enough on us.
Yes, ma'am.
Take this.
This one's mine.
I can carve through armor.
Here I go.
Swallow blade. Try this. Infernal torrent.
I'll tear you apart. Elusive deity. Hitting pile driver. Resonate with the earth.
Healing circle.
Now we're next.
Big blast.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Perhaps now isn't the time?
Really don't.
No further. Super swallow
Not in your
gas.
dreams.
What's this?
I'm great. Wide open.
Won't escape me. Resonate with the earth.
Infernal torrent.
Stalagmite.
Rising wyvern.
On your
Do it. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
Hear me. Flame of fury. Glacial spear. Here's evil.
Does it hurt?
Freeze lancer.
It doesn't.
Not today.
Ils sont longs à tuer, man.
Now you see what I can do. Begin. Elusive deity.
Healing circle.
So much for sitting this fight out.
That wouldn't be enough.
No, that'd be silly. Air pressure. Resonate with the earth. Stalagmite.
Here, let me help.
Take this.
Where are you going?
Will escape. Swallow blade.
Bathed in blood. Rending you
Will
apart.
this help?
Rising wyvern.
Bloody damn.
Healing circle. Here goes. Gravitas field.
I'm on captivity.
Lamont. It's over.
Elusive
Not in
deity.
your dreams.
Now or never. Let's tear it up.
Infernal torrent.
Can't get out of this.
Swallow blade.
I'll smash you.
Rising wyvern. Mirage. The flame inside me yearns
I'm
to
only
be let
getting
free.
started.
I'll grind you to dust. Elusive deity. Rotating power. I'm just getting started.
No escape.
Seismic rupture. I'm ready.
Astral energy.
Say no more.
Here come more.
Ah,
Just
encore?
have to keep fighting.
Oh, chier.
The enemy wields arts too.
We'll soon see about that. Healing
Elusive deity. Swallow
Glacial
blade.
spear. Here's evil.
Take elusive deity. Hitting pile driver.
Ah ouais, si, c'est quoi ça? Ah, je suis à terre, resti, puis ça m'attaque quand même. C'est nice en tabarnak. Ah.
Can't end here.
I couldn't make it in time. No further.
Healing circle.
Power
This one's
surges
mine.
through me. Here we go again. From beyond. Imbue this
Flame
bench
of
with
fury.
soul with life.
armor. Burning. Confiscated.
Resuscitate
Glacial
this.
spear. Here's evil.
You're mine. It's over.
Eat this.
Art expert coming through. Do it. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
Here's a healing art. First aid.
I'm gonna need more.
Non, non, va-t'en pas là! Chris!
I'll face you.
I'll heal you all. Here's a healing art.
J'arrive pour l'attaquer, mon bonhomme il s'en va là. Je suis comme non, va pas là. J'essaie de faire demi-tour, puis le gars il continue à y aller quand même. Ça.
Freeze, let eat dirt.
I'll tear you apart.
Hear me, flame of fury. Glacial spear. Pierce evil. I never miss.
Là, c'est quand on va le péter, là. C'est fatigant, là, tu battre contre des assis de mobs.
First
I
aid.
really owe you one. Prepare to be sealed. It was nice while
Encore, hein?
Reinforcements
Ouais.
incoming.
Not a problem.
You're mine. It's over.
Only getting reflected.
I hope this medicine works as promised.
Thing is dead.
Moving on.
You'll pay for that.
I'll bring you back from death's abyss.
Ah, nice.
You picked the wrong fight.
Deux qui sont morts aussi, bravo, bande de champions.
It's over.
I'll bring you back from death to
Mirage! Try this! Infernal turret!
My pride is down.
Will this help? Eat dirt!
Looks like you came to my rescue again.
You need to be careful.
I owe you one.
With the blazing sword, and with my stones.
No further!
Where are you going?
Begin!
Here I come!
Ready to go!
You're mine!
Can you take it? I hope this thing is mentally I'll smash you!
It's over! I'm on! Run up! This one's all mine! I'm not done! Ignite!
Benediction light. I'm on a roll now!
Now I can let loose!
Crumble! Talon
Here, let me help.
Here I come!
Negative gate! I'm on! Resonate with the Thanks, Shion.
Be careful not to overdo it.
I'm sorry. I'll do better.
Where are you going?
No further!
Hey, je vois rien, sacrément, man.
Healing circle!
You're mine! You're finished!
Save you!
Not today!
Eat this! Denied! Come on, blade!
Allez, hâtez-vous de là, hâtez-vous de là. Ah, c'est bien, oui.
You're mine! It's over! Rising Wyvern!
I'm ready!
Here I come!
Ready!
Negative gate! On your knees!
You're mine! You're
Out
finished!
in your dreams!
Fly!
Back into the
Try
fray!
this!
Ready and rampant!
Here!
I can carve through armor! Elusive deity!
Here's the healing art!
Hitting pile driver!
I owe you one!
If it's in the sky, it's mine!
You picked the wrong fight!
Where are you going?
Take this!
Far enough!
Rending you
Amazing.
bloody
Rising Wyvern! Mirage! Flash! Try this! Infernal Torrent! Here I come! You're finished!
I'm ready!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! See that?
That training's paying off!
Negative gate! On your knees!
I'm out of ammo!
The flame inside me yearns to be let free!
All good things come to an end.
Ok, on peut-tu le battre là, man? C'est parce que là, c'est long là.
It's about to strike!
Look sharp, everyone!
Comment je t'ai supposé
Everyone all right?
We won't
esquiver ça?
surrender. We won't retreat, not yet!
Whatever you do, just please stay safe.
How are we supposed to take on something so big?
I'll handle it.
Alpha!
Watch and learn! That's enough! Go back down!
Pourquoi on n'a pas fait ça tantôt? Ok.
Everyone okay?
Yeah, I think so.
That thing scared the pants off me.
It felt like it had a different aura than other Zeugles, didn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't like the one that Almadria sicked on us either.
Its elemental astral energy variance was out of this world. It was like fighting a lord.
I guess it's safe to assume that if it came out of the wedge, it must have played some part in helping harvest astral energy. But what?
Perhaps a living spirit vessel? It's plausible, given the location. Or it may be part of a new force dispatched to regain control of Dana.
If we assume that monster was one of the 4 beams of light, we must have prevented something from taking place here.
I'd like to think so, knowing how much grief it gave us. But at least with that out of the way, we can keep moving forward now. Let's go.
All right. Une clé secrète.
Still got a ways to go.
Bon, ça en est bien sorti, là, pareil. Oh.
Hey, is that it over there?
Oh! Un tabarnak! Je pensais qu'il aurait été plus petit.
Did you remember something?
No, but I have seen this starship before. This is it. This is the ship I traveled in when I escaped from LENEGIS.
Three centuries later, and it's no worse for wear. I'll take a look at the internals.
Damn! I'm amazed it still works at all after all this time.
The past meets the present. I really am from a different time and place.
Yeah, but you've got us now, Alphen.
Not only that, but you've helped out so many people, too.
Law's right. Rinwell too. You're one of us now. No more carrying the weight of history on your shoulders. You're a part of this world.
Right. Thanks, you guys.
How's it look?
It should fly. All internal systems seem to be operating. However, considering how long it's remained inactive, I suspect it will take some time before it's ready for takeoff.
How much time are we talking here?
Starship mechanics are not what I'd call my forte, so I'd rather not hazard a guess.
So we've just got to sit around here and wait? I'm terrible at waiting.
That's because you're a child. Oh, but how about we use this time to prepare and gather supplies for the trip?
Good idea. Who knows when we'll be back from LENEGIS once we leave. We should prepare ourselves for every possible scenario before we go.
Let's try not to stay away too long. I'd hate for anything to happen to the place while we're gone.
Either we race ahead, or we take due precaution to ensure we have no regrets. I shall leave it up to you as to how we proceed, Alphen.
Works for me.
Nice.
It's funny, isn't it?
What is?
All this. When we first started this thing, did you ever imagine we'd be going to LENEGIS? After all, this is the sort of thing I was rebelling against when I ran away from home, right?
I'm sure Zephyr would be proud if he knew what his son was doing right now.
And a little shocked, too.
We're defying the order of things that have persisted for 300 years. Deep down, I knew our journey would lead to confronting LENEGIS.
Yeah, you maybe, but you're a Renin. The rest of us can barely even picture what it means to leave Dana.
No offense to Shion and Dohalim, but it's worth remembering we're heading into enemy territory.
No offense taken, and this is no picnic for me either.
Remember, our aim is to ensure that both LENEGIS and the Renin homeworld leave Dana alone for good. I don't think we'll be able to avoid a fight.
Is there no way we can talk them into leaving us alone?
The people of LENEGIS?
Sure. I mean, we found a way to make it work with Shion and Dohalim, right? And it's not just us. If places like Menancia can do it, then why can't we?
Because there are still many of my kind who believe it was right and natural that Rena reigns over Dana. There are those on LENEGIS who have never stepped foot on Dana. I doubt whether they'd even listen to Danans.
Look, none of us want to fight. But these are the same people who fired that wedge down on Dana. What happens next is on them.
Right. We're not going to sit back and wait for them to oppress us again.
Right.
Don't forget, there's also a good chance the Red Woman is somewhere on LENEGIS. And wherever she is, we should find the Renaissance too.
That's right. If we can take it back, then Shion can finally get rid of her thorns. Shion?
Huh? Yeah.
Gars, celle-là, là. Elle parle pas.
Where? Shion?
Hein, c'est encore séparé. Nice.
Where'd Shion go?
Ouais,
How
juste
could
ça.
she just go up?
Ah, j'étais sûr qu'elle était partie, mon chum. J'étais genre, non, fais pas ça, là.
Shion. Shion! It's your thorns? But why? You okay? Just now, it looked like you used your maiden powers to suppress your thorns. You can really do that?
Stay out of my way.
Wait a second. Are you planning to go alone?
Shut up!
Why would you do this?
I told you to shut up!
Ah, c'est con.
I won't let you.
I mean it.
I refuse to let you.
I won't tell you again. Move or I'll shoot.
If that's the case, then go ahead and shoot me!
いつも君と待ち続けた季節は何も言わず通り過ぎた雨はこの街に 注ぐ少しのリグレットと罪を包み込んで泣かないことを誓ったまま時は過ぎ痛む心に気がつかずに僕は一人になった記憶の中でずっと二人は生きてゆける君の声が今も胸に響くよそれは愛がさまよう限り君は少し泣いたあの時見えなかった
Then go ahead and shoot me!
J'ai pas fait tout ce chemin-là pour ça, cette petite conne. Arrête de faire ton innocente. Et parle, esti, parle au groupe, esti.
Do you remember back when I was stabbed? By Volron?
Yeah. I thought for sure that he had killed you back there.
That wasn't the first time.
Huh?
The first time was when I was only a child. After that, no matter how often, I just couldn't die.
Couldn't die? So you're immortal? How's that even...
I believe you, Shion. But tell me how is something like that possible?
My thorns. They're me, but at the same time not. They're part of me. I have no idea why, but my thorns will never let me die. At least not before I'm meant to.
You can't die before your death?
When my thorns free themselves, it will be my death. I've seen it. A darkness that swallows up everything until nothing remains. It's a vision of oblivion I can't escape. I want to believe it's all just a bad dream. But no matter what I tell myself, I know it's not.
Yeah, but you... Wait. The whole reason you needed the Renaissance was to get rid of your thorns, right?
If I burn away what's inside, then what will happen to the rest of me? Right. Either way you look at it, I'm going to die. But if I am going to die, I figure I can at least take my thorns out with me. That's what I've been after this whole time.
That's why you turned your back on your fellow Renans and chose to fight with us, isn't it? And while we've all been fighting to keep on living, you have been with us fighting desperately to die.
That was the plan. But then I met all of you. And before I knew it, I didn't want to die anymore.
Huh.
Shion, don't lose hope yet. We'll find a way to save you. There's still time to.
It's pointless.
Why?
Because the darkness won't just consume me. The truth is, it will consume all of existence as well. It was only a suspicion at first, but ever since the Red Woman triggered my maiden powers, I've been more certain than ever before. It was then that I finally came to realize my powers were holding my thorns in check the entire time. But they don't anymore. Not since LENEGIS, when the wedge fell. Every day, I feel the thorn's power growing stronger inside of me. Pretty soon, I won't be able to hold them back anymore. And when that happens,
They will consume all existence.
And that's why you wanted to leave by yourself. You planned to find the Renis Alma on your own and sacrifice yourself to stop the thorns.
But that's... too much. It's way too much.
when this all began, I didn't care what happened to me or anyone else. And what happened to the Renans or the Danans didn't matter to me at all. I know I have to die, but I don't want to. Not now that I have this. I wish we had never met. Then I wouldn't have to feel this way.
Shion!
Elfin?
Only living for the sake of dying is no better than being a slave. How can you endure this?
Elfin.
It's not fair. I don't care what anybody says. I won't let it happen. We can fight this. We'll fight until the end together. Isn't that what you said to me before?
Even if it should mean that it'll be the end of everything else, too?
Shion, what do you want? It's your decision, ultimately. But if you decide not to fight fate, I will. Even if I have to do it alone.
No, you won't be alone. I'll fight as well.
Count me in as well. I want to be a force for good, not hate.
And me too. I meant it with all of my heart when I told you before. Neither of you are alone in this at all.
You guys...
And I, for one, don't believe this venture is without hope.
Huh?
Shion is the descendant of a maiden from 300 years ago. Given the circumstances, it seems very likely that those events have some connection to her thorns. The true nature of which, I imagine we will discover as we make our way to LENEGIS and uncover the truth of what's unfolding here.
I take it you mean we might find a way to get rid of her thorns and she'll live?
It's certainly possible. Though I suspect the nature of the Sovereign is connected somehow.
So be it. I've already lost everything I had once. And I won't let it happen again. Shion. No matter what happens from now on, we're right here with you. All of us are. You are not alone.
You guys... you're all so stubborn. Thank you, everyone. For right now, and a little while longer, I just want to hold on to this dream. And most of all, more than anything else, I want to be with all of you. So let's go. On to Lenegis.
Oh man, nasty de moment d'émotion là, man. Qu'est-ce que c'est bon. Whew.
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth. What about you?
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened seems to point towards some sort of great danger that's lurking ahead of us. Still, it's hard to fathom something that could usher outright doom to the world. That those really are the stakes we face.
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know exactly what will happen to bring it all about.
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands, so many clues, yet the complete picture eludes us.
So where do her thorns fit in then?
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all. You remember the voice we all heard while we were inside the wedge, don't you?
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral energy come to life. Or that's what we all thought.
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of astral energy can become sentient. Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelagian. When her thorns went wild, they contained far more astral energy than any mere Renin would normally have inside them.
So you think those thorns might be alive too? That their will is what keeps her from dying? But why would they want to destroy the entire world?
As for that, I really cannot say for certain. Its goals still remain a mystery. It may be a mere fluke that her maiden powers have been able to contain it thus far.
You know, I've noticed since we've met that you like figuring out riddles.
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, they can't help but seek the truth. Especially when that deception has led to others getting hurt.
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek rest somewhere within Lenegis. As for what the final picture will look like, who can say? I think it's best we not dwell on it too much for the time being.
Right.
Yep, man, c'est lui qui trouve toutes les solutions à tout.
How you holding up?
Who, me?
Yes, you. You took a hit from those thorns again, didn't you?
Oh, that? That was nothing.
Compared to what Shion's going through, you mean? Still, even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain, that doesn't mean Shion wants to have to see you get hurt by her thorns, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'll be careful.
Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you around, you know? Dashing in to save her at the last minute.
Yeah, very funny.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on, and you didn't even bat an eye. She really needed that. That's what I mean when I said you saved her. Just like you did with the rest of us.
I just want for Shion what we all have. The ability to touch someone without the fear of killing them. Those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday things we all take for granted. And it's not right.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't make it any less special or important for her. I hope she gets what she wants. I have my own dreams, but a world without her, where she dies so we can all survive, isn't a world I want to live in.
Agreed. It's like more and more keeps getting taken from her, and I'm done with it. Can't sleep?
After everything we just heard, how could I?
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, she just kept quiet and didn't say anything. I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to hurt anybody by getting too close. I just figured that that was the type of person she was, you know? But it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die and sacrifice herself for the greater good. But even then, she didn't think she could say anything to us about it.
I know.
She was so alone this entire time. How could I call her a friend and yet be so completely blind to everything she was going through?
I'm sure it made her happy, knowing you were there for her.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends, I don't think she could have ever opened up to us like that. You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be an even better one now.
Yeah, I really hope so. I want to be the best I can for her. When you think about it, we were all alone in our own way. But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. I hope Shion's able to do that one day too. No, I mean, I hope she's able to do that more. Lots and lots more. I think it'd be really nice if we could all just be there to support each other when it really counts. And forget about our grudges and pain.
Rinwell.
Did you know?
You mean about Shion?
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something seemed a little off, but I never could have imagined. It's like a completely different world was spinning around me and I couldn't even see it.
You and me both. I mean, I knew something was bothering her, but I could never quite figure out what it was.
You? But you're the one always looking out for her, aren't you?
That's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all. What I thought was helping and being there for her was actually just driving her into a corner.
At least you figured it out in time, though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from the edge, and we're going to stop those thorns from taking her. No matter what.
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing we can't handle. Shion, the world, we can save everyone. And I mean it when I say we, Alphen.
I know. No lone wolfing it.
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say. Do you think he'd pat me on the back or tell me off?
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say, to be honest. You're your own man now, Law. And you've already made up your own mind about what you want.
I guess he couldn't say anything even if he wanted to.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us amongst the living have enough problems to deal with, don't we? We'll need all our strength to save Shion. I'll probably end up worrying again at some point, but I guess I'll think it over more then. That okay?
Yeah, I think it is. Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause nothing but worry. As much as I try to look like I have things under control, everyone still worries about me.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first time you said I was your friend?
No? When was that? Sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you, I'm not surprised you forgot. I was different back then. The Danans were not even people to me, and I knew I would always be alone. But in that room with Deadheim, when you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the blazing sword, and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two, and before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renins. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too. To think of me as their friend. Before then, I never even dreamed I could have that. I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die in my place.
Shion.
But then I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. After saying how I felt, and hearing what you all had to say, I finally understood that. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not planning on dying anymore. I've met too many people along the way who I truly care about to give in now. So I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because of me.
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. Our fight won't be over until everyone, both Danans and Renins, can finally live in peace. But I swear I'll be there with you until the very end.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia? There's no wall so high that we can't break it down.
Yeah, I think you may be right about that.
All right.
Everyone well rested? Then let's go. We depart for Lenegis.
Hey man, on s'en va à LENEGIS, man. Wouh! Qu'on est prêt? Let's go, man.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that. You're going to jinx us.
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
Elle est bien obsédée avec son hibou, elle.
Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... Well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renins finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right. Then let's go.
Wow! C'est hot en Chris. Ah, y a du travail derrière ce jeu-là, pareil, l'histoire, là.
I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. the whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach LENEGIS?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shion? You seem
Oh fuck, on parle à tout le monde.
Different.
Si, vol.
Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It's... Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's all.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renan technology. It got me to Dana in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong, okay?
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. Well, that should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it something I said?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped LENEGIS, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, I was a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that mean... you were inside for 300 years?
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence, and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen. I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Alphen, mon chum, il a dormi là-dedans, man, pendant 300 ans. Damn. Tiens que c'est hot. LENEGIS. On s'en va là, man.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
We'll be going to LENEGIS soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment, but in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. Helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine. I'm in a much better place now.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery, as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we have of things ever changing.
Yeah, You're right. No one's ever changed the future without aiming for the stars. We can do this. Together.
Je suis quand même vraiment hâte d'arriver à LENEGIS, là.
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about LENEGIS.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, LENEGIS was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Lost blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman, are we expecting to find her on LENEGIS?
I would wager so. LENEGIS is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
À la fin, t'es arrivé?
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them.
Yeah, à la fin. Est-ce que j'ai hâte de voir ce qui va se passer par la suite, là?
There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
LENEGIS's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as LENEGIS would have required an immense source of power.
And you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone. Beyond that wall lies a city.
Là, j'espère aussi qu'ils n'ont pas encore tout changé, mais... C'est encore que je fais ça, changer de groupe? Non. Modifier. Ouais, ok, bon. Shion. Ok, non, c'est bon, ils ont pas rechangé.
Full of Renans. The capital city where Shion and Dohalim used to live, no less. Who knows what we'll find on the other side.
Genre, je sais même pas où est-ce qu'on s'en va. Je sais même pas si c'est un donjon. Je sais même pas si on s'en va péter le boss. Je sais même pas si. LENEGIS. Ok, je pensais que c'était plus propre que ça.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When LENEGIS changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
C'est la fille qui
Why
broyait.
did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Doe?
C'est la fille qui broyait quand il a tué l'autre gars, son frère ou whatever, là, ou un ami.
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
Ils savent même pas que les lords sont tous
just as
pétés.
clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danans poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two.
Ouais, puis en plus, ils savent même pas que les lords sont juste
Danans
morts.
among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit? The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Hmm? Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that LENEGIS is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over LENEGIS?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and LENEGIS.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dana? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling LENEGIS alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of LENEGIS has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on LENEGIS has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on LENEGIS single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over LENEGIS from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, right? Just before the ceremony. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and LENEGIS. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign, though it would appear that the current ruler has gone silent. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on LENEGIS. Oh, Not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that two sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganeth Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it.
Volron n'est pas mort. S'ils travaillaient ensemble, ça veut dire qu'ils l'avaient déjà vu, mais les autres lords l'ont jamais vu, la fée rouge. Des vagues en sacrement pour tout de suite, là.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are supposed to do. I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renin homeworld, and all their lords were sent to Dana.
But Dohalim was a lord, right?
Only current acting lords have power. Renin society is quite strict about such matters.
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to do much about the situation.
I wonder what they'd think if they were here to see Lenegis now. Balsif, Cannabelt, Almadria, and Volron. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know next to nothing about the other lords.
Well, yeah, why would we? To us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow. Nothing...
I know. But seeing Renins in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives, it gets you thinking.
It feels strange to imagine the lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah, a little.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on LENEGIS. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Ok. Hey, désolé, j'ai répondu à un message texte, c'est parce que... voyons... un message texte important, là. Fallait que je réponde. Ah, ok, ça... Trouver l'entrée de la zone interdite. Moi, je vais faire ça à la place. Restez concentrés sur l'histoire principale.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed. The effects of Lenegis's transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Ok. Ok, bon, ok. C'est par là-bas. On va aller par là-bas.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfricht Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfricht whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on LENEGIS?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the Sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting LENEGIS from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit odd?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom? And to what end?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe anymore.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core existed, remember?
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Vous dites tout le temps ça, vous parlez pendant fucking une demi-heure après ça. Ouais, on devrait aller voir la zone interdite. C'est comme à toutes les fois que j'essaie de me rendre à la crise de zone interdite, vous parlez. Je sais, esti, que ça fait du dialogue, ça rajoute de l'histoire, mais sacrement, je veux aller voir ce qui se passe pour de vrai. Chris. Ah.
Doe?
Faria.
Ah, yeah.
Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still... Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Oh, elle s'est fait fermer à gueule.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Puis le pire, c'est qu'on l'a vu ici quand il se battait contre son frère ou whatever, ou son chum, son ami. Oh. Elle fait peur, elle, le tabarnak. Il s'est juste défendu d'Owalim, là. L'autre, il arrêtait pas de l'attaquer.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Là, on a vu la femme rouge, man. La femme rouge, là, c'est un boss. C'est le pré-boss final. Après ça, là, il va y avoir quelqu'un au-dessus d'elle. C'est sûr. C'est quand même grand, ici, ça. Ok, bon, c'est la ligne droite.
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renin sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed.
No, this is
Despite Faria's lower class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnigan and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnigan had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnigan was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renin oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, Try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right.
Ah, c'est le dude qui jouait de la musique avec Dualin.
Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe.
Ok, alors on est tous plein de vie, on a tout ça.
I still wanted to say thank you.
Coller, ça augmente en sacrament, hein? J'ai fuck all de matériaux parce que je bats jamais personne. Ah, c'est pas grave. Bon, il manque une gilet de pêche. Je m'en prends une. On est correct. On va continuer.
I see a medic and supply officer over there.
J'aimerais ça finir ça dans cet épisode-là,
If they know
genre.
you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Oh.
Damn it. Lenegis soldiers.
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
Ouais.
It all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Ah.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Oh, I am Lord Dohalim of Elden Menencia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they got one.
Ben là, je veux crisser mon camp de m'amener, c'est correct, hein.
A new melody.
Hey, ils sont résistants en tabarnak, man.
I never miss. Execution.
Astro.
That's my cue.
Shut him down.
Take it!
Here I come.
Try this!
These bastards got your name on them.
Ah, c'est trou noir à la merde, ben ouais.
You're mine! It's over! Try harder! Now! You're mine! It's over!
Let me help.
I owe you one.
Hey, you okay?
Ça se quand ça?
In an instant! Impact block!
Here's a healing arm.
Swallow
Take this!
Its armor's too strong.
Split it open.
Be my guest!
Can't get out of
Healing
No
circle.
escape! Rising Wyvern!
Not in your dreams.
Make a mistake, Spot. Resonate with the earth.
Rising Wyvern!
faith and blood.
Ready and ready. Now you see what I can do.
It's like steel!
I'm on a roll now. A new melody.
Ignite!
I'll heal you all.
I'm on it.
You're mine!
I never miss.
Do it! Totally! In an instant! Impact block!
Here's a healing arc. First aid. Here's the evil.
Try this!
Freeze blast.
Rising Wyvern!
Debut performance.
I'll stop your movement.
And I'll stop your life.
Non, les a eu.
Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so far.
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for sure. They just attacked without warning.
They weren't in the least bit fazed by Dohalim's presence either.
Indeed. They seem to recognize us as enemies, nothing more. And yet, traditionally, LENEGIS hasn't been high on threats. A few frenzied Zeugles during experiments here and there, but not much else.
Their glazed-over eyes reminded me of the soldiers and slaves we met back in Ganath Haros. The ones in blind devotion to Volron.
I've never seen anything like that here on LENEGIS before.
Maybe someone doesn't want us here, and the soldiers are their way of letting us know.
What with the Red Woman, the Sovereign, and Volron, we're starting to develop quite the growing list of adversaries. At least we'll know to keep our wits about us.
Ok. Si je reviens, vont-ils réapparaître? Ah, il me reste encore des PS. On va continuer. What the fuck? Non. J'ai pas le choix d'aller là. Ah, je suis même pas passé. Je dois faire le tour. Ah yes, j'étais sûr que je pouvais pas, man. Oh merde. Non! Ah, c'est pareil, ils sont juste deux. Trois.
Is it too late to talk over our differences? Can't get out of this! Slash! Storm! Magna Ray! Too fast! 10 packs! I'll trip it up! Save you! Burn in hell! Heal! Take this! Come and get it! Damn it! The arts of being interrupted! Try this! I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Here's a healing arc!
Now! Take this!
First aid! Confiscated!
Thanks!
Far enough!
Rising Wyvern! Here it comes! Mirage!
Eagle assault!
Try this!
Lunar corruption!
I'm ready! Kisara! Commander of Heavens!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Ah, ça vite.
I can feel my power growing!
Attends. Ça, mes gelées d'ananas, là. Gelées de raisin. J'ai pris une gelée d'ananas. Et j'ai repris une autre gelée d'ananas ici. Et voilà.
Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
Is someone making them stand guard over the Forbidden Zone?
On n'a pas le choix, let's go.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Try harder! Not a chance!
If it's in the sky, it's mine!
Pile driver! It's over! Tornado drive! Try this on
I
for
think I'll
size!
pass on that enemy!
Swallow blade! Swallow dance! All fit anything in normal!
Sorry to trouble you.
You do the same
It's
thing.
over!
That helps.
Lunar corruption!
You picked the wrong fight! I'll tear you apart! You're mine! They smite with blackened blade! I'll finish you here and now!
Hear me! Flame of fury! Burning
Execution! Rising Wyvern!
Here,
Super Swallow Dance!
first aid!
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop it!
Elusive deity!
Lightning hurricane!
Rotating pile driver!
Eagle drive!
Try hard! My turn! I'll tear you apart!
Confiscated! Pierce the evil!
You're finished! Elusive deity! Try this! Begin!
Infernal power! Roll now!
Soaring Try harder! The blade is sighted! You're carved the street! Take this! Ah! Eat dirt!
Swallow
Resonate with the earth! I really owe you one! I'm not done!
This one's mine.
No escape. Heal. Swallow blade.
Watch and
Infernal turret.
annihilation.
First strike. Resonate with the earth. You're finished. Swallow blade. On your infernal turret. I'm on a roll now. Rising wyvern. Glimmer dragon.
Here.
Mirage.
Watch and weep.
Ready and ready. It's over.
Now you see what I can do.
Here I come.
Not on my watch.
Swallow blade. Infernal turret. Eat dirt.
Benediction light.
No further.
Whirlwind
Swallow
staff.
blade. Try this. Infernal turret. Rising wyvern.
Deity.
Leading pile driver.
That frickin' just
Try harder. Not a chance.
Soar.
Strike. Tempting.
Should have messed with me.
Fair enough.
Tempting.
Here I go.
Infernal turret. Rising wyvern.
Let's go là, man. Là, il est en feu, man.
Lightning reflexes. Tenebrous claw. Talon storm. Benediction light.
Here I come.
This one's mine.
No suffering. Your incantation ruined. Honor won't save you.
First strike.
Blood. Raising you. The earth throbs.
Rising wyvern.
Art seal.
Eat this.
Swallow
They
blade.
can't get out of this.
You're done.
By the power of water. Annihilation.
Benediction light.
Heal. Here I come.
Leave the chargers to me. Denied.
I'm on swallow blade. Try to
Thank you.
Infernal turret. You're finished.
No more playing nice.
Try this.
Corruption.
Being interrupted.
You're mine.
Ouais, ben fatigant là.
Eat dirt.
It's time
Oh.
to finish this.
Première fois que je vois ça.
Consuming wildfire. I'm ready.
Benediction light.
I'm ready. Look sharp. Lightning tiger blade.
Wow, c'était hot ça, man.
My exploits are bearing fruit.
Oh fuck. Ah! Je l'ai couru, mais lui il s'est mis à courir avant tout le monde.
Rising wyvern.
Armor won't save you. A showdown between blade and fish. Bring him down.
Mine.
Rising wyvern.
Into the shadow. Confiscated.
Rising wyvern.
Locked and loaded.
I'm ready. You're mine.
Take this.
I'm all stocked up.
You picked the wrong fight.
Here's the healing.
Rising wyvern.
I'll face you. Engulfs you.
Will this help?
Talon storm. Release. Deity. Drive.
You're finished.
Seismic
Annihilation. Into the shadow.
Take this.
Resonate with the earth. Stalagmite.
On your flame of fury.
It was nice while it
Rising wyvern.
Glacial spear. Here's evil.
Another incantation ruined.
Freeze lancer.
The enemy wields arc too.
We'll soon see about that.
You're done.
I'm almost ready to
Leave the ensnaring to me.
and the pummeling to me.
Here's the healing.
Ignite. Glimmer dragon. Look sharp. Lightning tiger blade.
Will this help?
I can carve through armor.
Where are you going?
Talon hurricane.
Confiscated.
Rending you apart.
Rip it to hell.
Rising wyvern.
Healing circle.
Do it. Chill.
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
Hein? C'est cool parce qu'on n'a pas tué l'autre et tout.
That was a little close for comfort.
Ah. Je pense que je peux y aller. Ah, tabarnak, c'est même pas la bonne place. Oh, non, ça a passé proche. Sacrement. La seule affaire que je trouve fatigant du jeu, tu sais, les combats sont nice, mais il y en a trop. Puis c'est tout le temps contre le même type d'ennemi. La même type d'ennemi. Les boss sont cool, mais il y a juste trop d'ennemis là. Moi je vais me rendre à un point A, un point B, mais il faut toujours que je batte du monde, des mêmes monstres. Fatigant.
Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclone! I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! I'm on it! Here goes! Can't get out of this! This one's karma! Through armor! Not today! Damn it! I owe you one. Now I'm in the groove. Swallow dance! Swallow blade! Try this! And they smite with blackened blade!
Hear me, flame of fury!
Swallow blade! Rising white!
Nice, manqué mon combo parce que tout le monde me frappe. Asti que c'est hot.
This one's all in an instant! Impact claw! Benediction light! Rising wyvern! Swallow dance! Into assault! I'm just getting started! Prepare to be here I go! Burn in hell! Wait up!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Hey, t'as vu ça, si de faire spammer des attaques, mon tabarnak?
There's always room for improvement.
Oh.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
Oh.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Dahnan. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for. Let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dana. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to, she looked exactly like Shion.
It was Naori. Naori Imaris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shion. I'm beginning to see why Alphen was so confused.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a mere hallucination.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago. The night before the ceremony.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of your past?
But how is that even possible? Unless... Could this be the Red Woman's handiwork too?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Danon astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation as back inside the wedge.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up here to LENEGIS. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was stored.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision we just saw? But how? And why?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate as all that.
Shion, you okay?
Yeah. It was all just a little sudden. That's all. So that was my ancestor, huh? It was like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, there certainly is a resemblance.
What about you? How are you holding up?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, it's likely we'll see more of those. Reliving painful episodes from your past. Do you think you can handle it?
I can't just pretend like the past never happened. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was, it might also lead to answers about your thorns.
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dana from the Renans. But now that we're here, it seems those same Renans might have it just as bad. I'd like to liberate them too if I can. Which is just another reason I can't afford to shield my eyes from the truth.
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Your indignation and righteous passion, your desire to free and protect, they're all hardwired into you. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's bust this thing wide open.
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion,
Oh,
there's
on a
no
boss.
telling what could happen in here.
C'est le boss final, gros, je sais aucune idée, man. Mais je veux continuer parce que je sens que j'approche de la fin, puis je veux pas finir un épisode quand c'est proche de la fin, puis je sais pas. Alors, je suis curieux, là. Je suis curieux juste de savoir ce qui va se passer. Comment ça se finit? Qu'est-ce qui se passe avec Shion? Tout ça. Excusez si je baille autant. Je suis fatigué. C'est pas le jeu qui m'endort.
Faria,
How did you get in here?
Wait.
C'est la dame.
Something about her isn't right.
Ah.
What's wrong with her? She doesn't even seem to know where she is.
Possédée?
Yeah, you're right. She looks just like the soldiers we encountered outside.
Et qui lui? Ok, bonjour.
A summoning?
But that's preposterous. She never had that kind of power when...
We can talk later. Here it comes.
Ok, bon, on a ce boss-là. Je pensais que ça allait arrêter une affaire comme la Dame Rouge, ça a été pas pire.
I've never known Faria to control Zoogles like that before.
How about with a stone that looks suspiciously like a master sword?
What the? Where did she get her hands on that?
First we handle the Zoogles. Then we get some answers. Aim for the weak spot.
I'll run you through! Being interrupted.
To the face! Freaking does it!
Chris, il est fort dans leur mec.
Heal! Another incantation ruined.
Corruption! You're finished! Gemini Aqua! Let them know in hurricane! Eagle Tool! Here's a healing art! First aid!
You picked the wrong fight.
Lunar Corruption! Eagle Assault! Gemini Aqua! Did you hear it now? Rip it tear!
Merde.
I'll heal you all!
Air pressure!
Healing Circle!
My turn!
Oh man, j'ai esquivé ça en tabarnak.
Armor won't save you! Can't get out of this!
Here I come. It's over.
Try this! Forgive me.
Ah, mais là, tu crisses en avant.
Art seal! Back from death to air pressure! Not in your dreams! Lightning!
Ah shit, chiant. Ok, nice. Ça s'est donné de la vie. Mais c'est plus Noalim qui a donné de la vie.
Resonate with the earth! Stalagmite! On your knees!
It's over.
Here's a healing art!
Infernal turret.
Oh, stop it, charge! Thanks, Kisara!
Everlasting darkness!
A pas fait grand chose.
No further! I'll smash you!
Here I come. It's over.
On va prendre le gilet d'orange, avoir le plus de PS possible.
Sorry to trouble you.
The same for me. By the power of water! Rolling snap!
On your knees!
Will this work? Hurricane! Air pressure! Eagle Ride! Healing Circle!
I owe you one.
Anything in order of my getting started! That'll bring you down!
It's time! Take this!
Rising Wyvern. This one's all mine.
Storm!
You picked the wrong fight.
Elusive deity!
Here goes! Confiscated! Mega Ray!
I'm ready!
Oh yeah.
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
Reflect on what I say.
Here I come. Try this. Infernal turret.
Glacial
Portal
Spear!
blade.
Fierce Evil!
Infernal turret.
Everlasting darkness!
It's gonna attack.
Rex, watch out!
Far enough!
Gemini Aqua!
Ah, ça a pas marché.
Light.
There!
Heal! Back! Shattering the
I'm all soaked up!
Try harder! Not a chance! I'll smash you!
It's over.
Require a hand. No further!
Infernal turret.
Now it's my turn!
Healing Circle!
Eat this!
Need to pull myself together!
I really owe you one.
Take this. It's over.
This one's mine!
Benediction light.
Merci. L'attaque là, c'est de la style marde, tu peux jamais l'esquiver, man.
I can carve through armor. Now or never. Here I go. Take this. Swallow blade. Infernal turret. Rising armor. Now I'm in the groove.
Fuck.
Infernal turret. There you are. Now, here I come. Negative gate. Resonate with the Stay away from my friend. First aid. Swallow blade. Try this. Infernal turret.
Là encore, il est encore mort. Parce qu'il se reste tout le temps devant l'ennemi.
No further. I'm just getting started. Will this help?
Ah, il achève, c'est pas super. Merde.
Here I go. You're mine. On your knees. I'm on your mind. Now you see what I can do. Try harder. One final push.
Let's finish this off.
I'll do my best not to disappoint.
I'm not done. Swallow blade. On your knees. Far enough. Take this. It's over. Here we go again. You're on. Now. That here. Begin.
That move. It's time to finish this. Die. Consuming wildfire. Mega ray.
Resonate with the... No further.
That one's mine. Mega ray.
Now I'm in the groove.
This one's mine.
Eagle fly. Here I come. Talon hurricane.
Glitter dragon. Not on my watch.
Armor won't save you.
I won't.
Eat dirt. Captivity.
Here
Swallow blade.
Ready to
Tear you
go.
apart.
Freeze Lancer.
Elusive deity. Soaring blast. Eagle fly. Rolling snap. You're mine. It's over. Start now or never. Far enough. Negative gate.
Gros, il y a charge. Il y a charge, j'ai fait aussi le truc de Kisara avant qu'il commence à péter tout le monde, puis ça a pas rien fait.
It's over. Negative gate. I'm ready. Double me in an instant. Impact claw.
Hein?
Now it's just her! Faria, can you hear me? Faria!
She's preparing another summoning.
Oh.
The art she's casting is way too powerful to control. At this rate, her body won't be able to take much more. Dohalim!
Forgive me.
Man, I thought we were goners.
Everything okay?
Yes. She's only unconscious.
Not her. I meant you.
Shion, please. Can you treat her?
I can try, but I can't promise she'll be back to her real self when she wakes up. All I can do is heal her physically.
We're not even supposed to be in here. Maybe it'd be better if we moved her to somewhere a little safer. Don't you think?
In that case...
I'll take her off your hands.
You?
Avakir, what are you doing here?
I was curious what you were up to, so I took the liberty of following you to find out. I overheard what you said about Tarnigan, about how he really died. I'm sorry, I had no idea.
And you believed me? What makes you so sure I wasn't lying?
I like to think I know you a little better than that, Dohalim. Give me some credit. I'll take Faria. Leave her with me. I know better than to ask what you're up to. But whatever it is, I hope it all works out.
Thank you.
He seems like a good friend.
He hasn't changed. He never was one to stand out. Instead, he was always hanging back, worrying about everyone else. As for Faria, it's always the closest to me who get hurt.
You don't seriously blame yourself for what happened to her, do you?
Somebody got to her, to strike back at me. Someone who knew me well enough to know that I'd hesitate to fight back. And the same goes for you as well. Neither you nor Faria would have lost loved ones, if it wasn't for me.
You're wrong. Kelzelik was the one who killed my brother, under orders from Almadria. As for Tarnagin, if it weren't for the crown contest, he'd still be alive. That and the whole damn hierarchy that makes it possible. But that's why we're fighting. To put an end to this whole messed up system that treats people as expendable.
Indeed. Ridding society of this blight is really the only way I know how to atone for my sins.
You can't atone, Dohalim. I know it hurts to hear, but those people are dead. No amount of soul-searching or trying to make amends is going to change that. Forgiveness, acceptance, those ships have sailed.
So I just forget the harm I caused?
No, the opposite, in fact. You remember. You never forget. You keep it in your heart always. And then you go on living. Not for those already past, but for those still alive.
For those still alive.
Kisara's right. So long as we've still got breath in our bodies, we can make a difference in the lives of others. Lives being the operative word.
That's what living's all about. Being able to still make a difference. Punishing yourself for the past won't make the pain of your conscience go away.
Only fixing the problem in its stead. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. You have to live for tomorrow, Dohalim, not for yesterday. And not only that, you need to live for yourself, and for the change that you still can be.
I shall try.
Don't forget, we've still got a mystery to solve. The Forbidden Zone, remember?
Shion.
Huh?
Thank you. You have my deepest gratitude for what you did for Faria.
Glad to be of service.
I'm glad we could stop Faria
Ok, c'est par là.
without hurting her.
You all did much for her as well.
What is it, Rinwell? Do you hear something again?
Yeah. It's that voice.
The will of Dana's astral energy.
Oh, on a une autre vision.
What? There's so much astral energy. But where's it all coming from? It's almost like it's alive.
Oh, le final boss, ça serait pas les épines? Excusez.
That was the spirit channeling ceremony just now. No, it was more than that.
What the hell was that? It felt like everything was on the brink of... like the whole world was seconds from...
Oblivion. It's the same vision as the one my thorns show me. A vision of impenetrable darkness that swallows up us and everything else.
An empty void. A nothing so complete and dominating that there aren't even words to describe it. The end of time.
The visions of the apocalypse you've been seeing. If I'd known how bad they were,
So, everything we just saw, those were Naori's memories, right?
That's right. It was as if her innermost thoughts were speaking directly to us. At least I know they weren't mine.
That power flowing into her. It reminds me of Shion's thorns. If they're what's responsible for all these visions she's been having, then maybe...
Maybe my thorns are made from that same astral energy?
If that is the case, we just found the missing link between your thorns and what happened here 3 centuries ago. No, more than a link. Perhaps even the very heart of the matter.
I've never felt astral energy so powerful. What was that?
If it's the same energy your thorns are made of, it must be dark astral energy, right? And isn't that something only Renans have?
Correct. Dark astral energy is possessed by Renans alone.
And when enough astral energy gathers together, it develops its own form of sentience. If so, maybe that complete oblivion is exactly what the Renan astral energy's will is wishing for. But why?
I don't know. Will can be a pretty vague thing to nail down. It's more of a feeling, just like the will of Dana.
But the will of Dana is made up of astral energy too, right? And if that's what's been showing us these visions... I don't know, should we really be getting so involved with this thing?
Dana's will would never want oblivion.
But you can't say that for sure.
Cut it out, you two. Squabbling over theories will get us nowhere.
Let's keep moving. If it's Dana's will showing us these memories, then I'm as clueless about its motives as any one of us. But if it could lead us to the truth, then I want to find out more.
Shion's right. All we can do is keep going. If these really are Naori's memories we're watching, there could be truths in them I was never aware of. And I think they may be the kinds of truths I need to confront if we're going to keep fighting.
I'm sorry about what I said earlier. Come on, let's go.
Let's go! Let's go! Oh.
Finally, we begin to understand what the thorns are.
Yes.
On approche de la fin, je suis dans sûr, là.
A ceremony that occurred 3 centuries ago.
But we still don't know how to get rid of them. I just hope we can find a way.
Là, c'est long comme épisode. En même temps, je suis comme j'approche de la fin. Je vais pas couper ça là.
Soon, we might very well learn the truth behind Shion's thorns, as well as my own past. I have to be ready to face anything. Whatever happens.
Oh, je pense que c'est là. Let's go.
I'm determined to save Shion and Dana. Nothing I learn can change that.
Je pense que c'est là. Si on a le choix, là, c'était parce que...
Hold up, you guys.
What
Hey,
is it?
ça me dit quelque chose, ça.
I want to look through that room over there. I'm curious what we'll find.
That's the room you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out. This looks like some kind of research facility.
A laboratory secreted away in the Forbidden Zone. Why am I past being surprised at this point?
Looks pretty deserted.
Let's check it out. It might give us a new lead.
I think I can make this work.
Well, can you make head or tail of it?
These are experiment records by the looks of it. Reams of them, dating back hundreds of years. Let's see. A composite being capable of controlling Danon astral energy so as to convert its molecular and elemental makeup. The creation of a governing central figure, taking the form of a Danon. Codename Sovereign.
Sovereign?
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy containment. That must be the Master Course. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the Lords, too.
About the Lords? Why would they be on there?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular Renan citizens. In other words, it may be that all Renans are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of grand scheme.
What about the Sovereign? Does it say anything else?
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here. To sift through all of it would require specialized... Wait.
What is it? Did you find something?
It's a list of names, with the title, Test Subjects, Sovereign. It's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them failures. Wait, I think I've found one that was successful.
ENFIN.
Test subject number 1273. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Alphen.
They re-engineered me. Right here in this lab.
Alphen.
It's fine, really. What about the others? Was I the only one?
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity, NA.
Vulcan?
Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Volron.
Volron, c'est ça que je voulais dire.
Volron? But that means...
He's only sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, you and Volron are the only 2 subjects on whom the experiment was a success.
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Upon victory, the Sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and LENEGIS combined. When a new Sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days on Rena. So we were told. But according to these records, there have only ever been 2 Sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do with the crown contest. It's all lies, including the part about the Sovereign residing in Rena. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised for some other purpose.
But even supposing that's true, someone must have been in charge for the past 3 centuries, right? If it wasn't the Sovereign, then who was it?
Crown contests have been held this whole time, in spite of the fact that there was already a Sovereign. Me, meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm willing to bet is behind all this.
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's the mastermind behind this scheme.
Je pense pas que ce soit elle.
She could be working for someone else. Someone back on the Renan homeworld.
Je pense ça, moi et tout.
Either way, it's fair to say she's definitely involved somehow.
What about the data records? Is there no other information that could help us?
Not that I can see. Just file upon file of experiment results. There's nothing here about who's behind all this, or what their endgame is, unfortunately. I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all, but you're welcome to take a look through what you can, while we're here.
I'll do that.
So this is where Alphen became the Sovereign, and Volron as well. The significance of this location would suggest...
Hey, it looks like the terminals in here turned on too.
We should look through them. They might contain valuable information.
Sûr. Moi, je les lirai pas, ça c'est sûr. Au cas où il y a une fin secrète, là. Ah, je sais que c'est de l'histoire, mais je déteste lire, man. Je vais juste faire ça juste au cas où il y a une fin secrète, puis il a fallu que je lise les terminales, là. Ben, les terminaux, je veux dire. Ce qui m'étonnerait, là. C'est bon, on a tout checké. Oh.
Naori,
Ah, elle m'a crissé à la poêle.
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dana. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Renan never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But...
The mask contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Elfin. Farewell.
Naori.
His injuries are worse than I thought. Short-term treatment isn't going to cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%? And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system. But... Lenegis will be nothing but ashes. And this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough. Please, live for me, Alphen. That vision. It must have been from when Naori helped Alphen escape Lenegis.
She sure went above and beyond the call of duty.
Even with Lenegis crumbling down around her, she chose to stay put with her people.
So that's why you lost your memories and sense of pain, and why you were asleep for that whole time. It was all the result of one agonizing decision Naori made to save your life.
Yeah. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't even be alive today. I owe her everything. More than I could ever hope to repay.
Now that you know how she felt, how do you plan on honoring her wishes?
She kept her promise. If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent force, then I owe it to her to carry on her fight. Naori was the one who put that mask on me. Made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain as a result. But more than anything, she wanted you to survive. And you did.
Le boss final. Je pense qu'on est arrivé, man. On est arrivé, man. Let's go, man. Je pense que c'est la conclusion. Je le sens.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renaissance was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
The Renaissance isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori.
What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign,
They linked Elfin's consciousness to LENEGIS itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth, and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to LENEGIS itself? But then, everything that's been happening...
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alfin lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. LENEGIS had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alfin, the Sovereign, was in a starship bound for Dana. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted, and for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse onto my descendants as well. Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just...
Naori.
That message just now, was it directly from Naori? Or was it the Danon voice speaking through her?
Oh, c'est...
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, master cores and spirit vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a maiden in Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shion.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you. Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've come all this way. Now we just need to search LENEGIS and Rena until we find it.
Yeah, we can protect the world and save Shion at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Shion. You included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop. Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then, that power she'd sealed away was passed down to you. I'm so sorry, Shion. It's my fault that you're cursed.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony and Naori's attempt to stop Oblivion. You paid a heavy price for it, and then fell asleep for 300 years. The reason you lost your memories
is the reason for your curse.
The thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No, the truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, embracing everyone. All the normal things that people do together. I always wished I could experience them for myself, and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and...
That's not going to happen. I'm here to make sure it won't. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going to live a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's such a strange feeling. I know that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead, and it's for my sake, so I can live.
You're worth fighting for.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes. Until our future is finally in our hands.
Yeah, man, hey. Non, on va se... Oh, d'accord, laisse le micro. Hey, nous autres, on va se laisser là-dessus, man. J'espère que vous avez apprécié cet épisode. Très long épisode, mais rempli d'histoires, mon chum. On était juste bourré de cinématiques puis de dialogues, mon chum, genre juste pour nous dire, c'est ça qui se passe. Et voilà, man. À ce moment, on sait qu'est-ce qu'on a à faire. Puis, c'est ça. Je pense que la prochaine va être la dernière. D'après moi, là. Parce que là, on connaît pas mal toute l'intrigue, là. On sait pourquoi qu'on est là. On sait qu'est-ce qui a fait ces problèmes-là. Puis le prochain, qu'est-ce qu'il nous reste à faire, c'est de trouver le noyau. Puis, ben. De libérer Shion puis le monde, man. Hey, sur ce, on se laisse. À la prochaine. Ciao.
Shion va-t-elle réussir à se libérer de ses épines? Est-ce qu'Alphen va réussir à sauver le monde? C'est ce que nous allons savoir au prochain épisode de Tales of Arise.